coming up in my reality. And it's not coming up in just one friend or one person. And everything that I'm going to be sharing in this video, it's coming from my experience, and it's coming from what I've learned and what I witness. So, and I'm doing all this because I want to bring awareness to things. I want people to start taking ownership of their creations, and I want people to find their morals again. The hippie movement in the 60s died for many different reasons. One of them was drugs. Another one was that quote-unquote free love. Free love is awesome. Okay? But what's occurring in my reality, what I'm witnessing in the spiritual community in South Florida, is that there is a lack of regard or lack of respect when someone has an STD and they still sleep around purposely in the spiritual community. And that just fucking boggles my mind. Like, you know what you have, and you're not openly communicating this to your partners. Not only that, but the different friends and my close circles that have these things, I'm not going to call out names because that's in my opinion disrespectful to do, but there's so many friends in my circle that rationalize of them having an STD, and they rationalize it in this exact way. It's, well, I mean, everyone else has it. No, everyone else does not fucking have that STD. Stop rationalizing something so that you can feel better about it. I'm talking from experience because I had an STD, and I'm going to be open with it. I had genital warts. I had HPV. I healed myself of it, and if you go to my YouTube channel, you could find out how I healed myself of it. But I know how the mind wants to create shit. I know how the mind is like, I'm going to rationalize it and say, well, I don't have to deal with it, so I'm not going to ever talk to anyone about it and share what I actually feel or that I actually have this particular thing. The mind wants to rationalize so it doesn't have to take ownership of shit. And I want to be that reminder for you people that have an STD and you still want to share yourself sexually, but you don't want to be honest with the partner. Like, why? Why don't you want to do that? That is a beautiful opportunity to create an even closer and a deeper connection with someone else. But you're masking it and rationalizing and justifying it that, well, everyone else has it, so I don't care. Or you don't even bring it up. The subject doesn't even come up. Like, why wouldn't it even come up? Even if you use a condom, you can still pass an STD. And I'm not sharing this from fear. I'm sharing this from facts. The other thing with this is, if you know that you have something, be more mindful of how you share your sexual energy. There's a reason why you got the STD in the first place. And in my observation of when I created the STD, when I had it, I realized I created an STD to prevent myself from misusing my sexual energy, because I didn't have an appreciation for what sexual energy was. And after my breakup of an ex of mine, not my recent one, but an ex of mine, the STD came up because I knew that if I didn't create that STD, I didn't know at the time, but I'm realizing it now. I knew that if I didn't create that STD, I would have reverted back to being sexually promiscuous. And I would have reverted back to not caring about who the fuck I slept with. Because I've slept with a lot of people. It may not seem like I do now, but I read pickup artist books. I've read books on how to manipulate women. I've read all that shit. Tucker Max, all those authors that talk about how to seduce women. I've done it. I've done all of it. I've clubbed. I went out clubbing and had one night stands, all that shit. I'm making this video because I want the South Florida community, or anyone who watches this in the spiritual community, to please be more mindful with your brothers and sisters. Why would you share an STD with someone? Or not even talk about it with someone? Like this, that's your opportunity for growth. Get yourself checked. There's people in my circle too that they don't even want to get themselves checked, because they're like, my immune system is holy. I have the best immune system ever. Nothing could ever harm me or come into my space. Bullshit, dude. You don't know when you're in misalignment. Some of you do. But what a test is going to show you, like, if you're in misalignment. If you're in misalignment with your body. If you're not paying attention to your body. There's a part of me that's annoyed at witnessing how much I'm seeing this in the spiritual community. And to me, it's like, it's common sense to be honest with what you have. But there's no such thing as fucking common sense. There's absolutely no such thing as common sense. And for any of you who do have an STD and who are watching this for a specific reason, or why it came up in your reality, process why this video is coming up for you. Process the partners that you've had, and have you been truthful to your partners? Why? Are you creating a story? Well, if I share that I have this STD, and I'm sharing this from my experience of having an STD before, if I share this to my partner that I have an STD, that person's not going to like me anymore. That person's not going to want to sleep with me anymore. That person's not going to want to love me. When it all comes back to is you're not going to love you. You don't love yourself. You don't accept yourself. You don't appreciate yourself. The moment I finally accepted it within myself of what I had, and I was honest to the partners that I had it, that I shared myself with, I healed myself of that STD. I healed myself of an STD, HPV, genital warts, that people said, or doctors said, is incurable. Everything is curable. But you have to accept it within yourself first. You have to acknowledge it. Acknowledge what you have. Love what you have. It's a tool. I utilize it as a tool for myself, because when I did have the STD, and I shared, and I was honest and vulnerable with who I shared myself with, and I shared what I had to them, it was a filtration mechanism where if they didn't really love me, or if they didn't really appreciate me, it would have pushed them away. They wouldn't want to be with me, because they're like, no, that's disgusting. Like, oh, gross. Like, no, I used it as a filtration system. And it was a beautiful filtration system. I'm calling every single one of you guys out in the spiritual community who has an STD, and you know who the fuck you are. Start loving yourself, dude. Start appreciating yourself. Man the fuck up. Go get yourself tested. Be honest with your fucking partners. Why would you want to share that with someone else? Like, why would you want to spread that illness out? Why? It boggles my fucking mind that I even have to make a video about this. It's like, we're not taught this. We're still like little children. Oh, I'm gonna go fuck whoever I want, and oh, I don't care if I get a disease. Or like, no, dude. You can be mindful with who you share yourself with. Be honest. Here's a thought. If you are honest about what you had, you create space for honesty in a relationship. Wow. Imagine that. Imagine having honesty in a relationship. Wow. That's big. That could be a first step for you to developing a true, authentic relationship. Is sharing, hey, I have this. Well, if you don't want to be with me, you don't want to be with me, you know? So, I'm making this video to bring awareness to the spiritual community that free love is awesome. But if you don't have fucking morals behind it, you're just spreading an illness. You're not having any regard for anyone around you. And you're not actually loving anyone. You're not even loving yourself because you're not accepting that part of yourself. You're avoiding it and you're justifying something within it. And that justification speaks volumes. If you justify not sharing what you have vocally before you initiate sexually, you are avoiding something. Stop fucking avoiding shit. I'm telling you this from experience. I had an STD. I don't fucking care who knows it. It's taken me a lot to get to this point to even share this and be vocal and honest about it. But I healed myself of it because I accepted it. I loved myself beyond it. I realized what it was teaching me. Every single one of you in the spiritual community who has something, accept it, love it, and move past it. Stop being a fucking child. I love you guys. Bye.